What if the CPF changes rolling out this year quietly moved more money into your future than any pay raise you got in the last 5 years? Most people won't notice. They'll open their payslip, see a slightly different number, shrug, and move on. That's usually how it goes with CPF, right? Nobody reads the fine print until they're standing at the CPF board counter at 55, wondering where all the years went. Here's the thing, though. 2026 isn't a small update. It's the year's several changes that have been building quietly since 2023 finally land all at once. And if you understand them now, you're ahead of almost everyone your age. Think about your friend who works in the CBD, takes the MRT every morning, grabs a Kopi before his 9 a.m. meeting, and genuinely believes his CPF just handles itself. That was most of us. Nobody teaches this stuff. You get your first payslip at 23, see a chunk disappear into CPF, and just accept it as background noise. Fast forward 20 years, that same friend is 50, sitting across from a CPF board officer, hearing numbers he's never seen before. Basic retirement sum, full retirement sum, enhanced retirement sum, the top tier. He nods along, pretending he understands because admitting he doesn't feels embarrassing at this stage of life. That moment is avoidable, completely avoidable, and it starts with understanding what's happening to your CPF right now, not later. Because here's what nobody tells you early enough. This account you're barely paying attention to is quietly becoming the biggest asset a lot of Singaporeans will ever own, bigger than their HDB flat in some cases. So it's worth 5 minutes of your attention, okay? Let's start with the one that touches almost every working adult. The CPF monthly salary ceiling has now hit its final level. Since January this year, it moved from $7,400 to $8,000. This has been building in stages since 2023, and 2026 is the finish line. There's no annual ceiling change, though. That stays fixed at $102,000 a year. If you earn above that new monthly ceiling, more of your salary now gets pulled into CPF. Say you're an engineer earning $9,000 a month. Before this year, only $7,400 of that counted for CPF contributions. Now it's the full $8,000. Your payslip shows a smaller number landing in your bank account. Yes, your take-home pay shrinks a little, but think of it less like a tax and more like a forced staircase, when you're being walked up automatically, whether you feel ready or not. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. The retirement sums went up too. In 2026, the basic retirement sum sits at $110,200. The full retirement sum is $220,400, and the enhanced retirement sum, the top tier, has climbed to $440,800. These numbers rise roughly 3.5% every year until 2027 to keep pace with inflation and a higher cost of living. Someone turning 55 this year who tops up to the enhanced retirement sum could receive somewhere between $3,180 and $3,410 a month starting at age 65. That's not pocket change. That's rent, groceries, insurance, covered every single month for life. But here's something most people miss entirely. Your MediSave account has a ceiling too, called the Basic Healthcare Sum. For 2026, it's $79,000. And here's the twist. Once you turn 65, your personal BHS locks in place for the rest of your life. So if you're younger, this number will keep rising every year until the day you turn 65, and then it freezes, which means topping up early while the number is lower can actually work in your favor. Most people never think about MediSave until they're sick. By then, it's a bit late to plan around it. Now, the fourth change is one that hits differently depending on your age. If you're above 55, your contribution rates just went up again. From January 2026, total contributions for workers between 55 and 60 rose by 1.5%, split between employer and employee. This has been a gradual government plan since 2019, designed so that by 2030, workers in their late 50s contribute at the same rate as someone in their 20s. The logic is simple. People are living longer, working longer, and need more time for their CPF to actually grow before they start drawing it down. Here's where most people completely misunderstand CPF, though. They think of it purely as their own personal pot, but the government has also been quietly expanding schemes that top up your CPF using money that isn't even yours. Take the Matched Retirement Savings Scheme. It used to be limited to Singaporeans aged 55 and above. This year, it expanded to include younger Singaporeans with verified disabilities. Every dollar you top up gets matched dollar for dollar by the government, up to $2,000 a year, with a lifetime cap of $20,000. That's free money sitting there, and a lot of eligible people simply don't know it exists. Then there's a brand new one. The Matched MediSave Scheme just launched this year, running for 5 years. It's built for Singaporeans between 55 and 70 who have MediSave savings below half the current basic healthcare sum and lower incomes. Every dollar of cash top-up gets matched by the government, up to $1,000 annually. No application needed. If you're eligible, CPF Board notifies you automatically at the start of the year, and the matching grant lands the following year. Imagine that. Free healthcare savings, and all you had to do was show up. 2 schemes, 2 different age groups, same underlying idea. The government is essentially saying, we'll double your effort, but only if you actually put something in first. Nobody grows wealth by waiting for money to fall into their lap, but when it's genuinely on the table like this, it's worth checking whether you or a family member qualifies, right? And the last major shift touches something a lot of people underestimate until they actually need it. CareShield Life, the long-term care insurance tied to your CPF, is getting a real upgrade. Monthly payouts, which used to grow at 2% a year, will now grow at 4% annually, all the way through 2030. Someone making a successful claim in 2030 would receive $806 a month, compared to $731 under the old growth rate. Premiums are rising too, but the government is cushioning that with over $500 million in transitional support, so the actual bite for most people stays manageable. So here's the real question underneath all of this. 7 separate changes, all landing in the same year. Is that a coincidence? Not really. It's a pattern. Singapore knows people are living longer, working longer, and facing higher healthcare costs than the generation before them. Every one of these 7 changes points toward the same goal, making sure your money lasts as long as you do. Most people will scroll past all of this. They'll notice their payslip looks a little different and move on with their day. But the people who actually understand these 7 changes, who check their retirement account, who consider a MediSave top-up before the year gets busy, who ask whether they qualify for MRSS or MMSS, those are the people who will look back in 20 years and realize they didn't need luck. They just paid attention while everyone else scrolled past. Remember that friend earlier, sitting across from the CPF board officer, nodding along at 50, pretending he understood terms he'd never bothered to learn? He didn't have to end up there. None of us do. The difference between his story and a different ending isn't income, it isn't luck. It's simply choosing, on an ordinary day like this one, to actually understand the account that's been quietly working in the background your entire career. Your salary doesn't decide how comfortable your retirement is. Your understanding of the system does. And now you understand it a little better than you did 10 minutes ago. That's not nothing. That's the beginning of a completely different outcome, one small decision at a time.